The mountain roared beneath us, not shook, roared, like something alive had been buried under the earth for centuries and had finally remembered how to breathe. Blue light exploded through the cracks in the frozen ground, cutting through fog, snow, trees, and darkness. Adam's hand closed around mine so hard it almost hurt, almost, but I didn't pull away, because I knew the difference between a man trying to control me and a man terrified of losing me. This was fear, not for himself, for me. His eyes burned brighter than I had ever seen them before. Electric blue, not soft anymore, not human tiredness, not the quiet sadness I used to see when he came home from work and stood near the ocean like the modern world had slowly suffocated him. No, this was old, this was ancient rage, waking fully inside a man who had spent years pretending he was ordinary. The scarred bear stood beside us, huge, silent, fur rising along its spine. The scar running through one eye looked almost silver in the blue light. It didn't attack, it didn't run, it simply stood with us, like it had stood there before, like it already knew what was coming. The ancient adversary watched all three of us from across the cracked earth. Tall, too tall, thin like death wrapped in armor, white hair falling over black iron shoulders. His face looked carved from winter stone. His eyes were pale blue, but not like Adam's. Adam's eyes were storm and blood and life. This man's eyes were ice after everything living had already died. He looked at me, not with hunger, not with interest, with recognition. That frightened me more, because strangers can desire you, enemies can hate you, but recognition means history, and I had no idea what history I had stepped into. His voice came through the fog slowly. You still choose her. Adam said nothing, but his hand tightened around mine. The bear growled low. The sound moved through my ribs. The adversary smiled slightly. After all this time, Adam's jaw hardened. Say what you came to say. The man's eyes moved to me again. She doesn't know. The wind died instantly. Even the snow seemed to stop falling. I felt Adam change beside me, not physically, emotionally. Something inside him closed around pain so old it almost had its own gravity. My voice came out quieter than I wanted. Know what? Adam turned his face slightly toward me. For 1 second, through all that power, all that ancient violence, all that blue fire in his eyes, I saw him, my Adam, the man who used to stand barefoot in Florida storms and not understand why rain felt like memory, the man who could silence 3 drunk men with one look, then come home and warm my hands because I was cold, the man who didn't know how to explain what was happening to him, but trusted me enough to let me see it. His mouth opened slightly, but no words came. The adversary answered instead, that he has chosen before. The blue light pulsed under our feet. The bear snarled. Adam took 1 step forward. Eric, so that was his name. Eric, the way Adam said it told me everything. Not stranger, not enemy only, brother, not by blood maybe, but by war, by death, by something buried so deep inside memory that even centuries couldn't rot it. Eric tilted his head. You remember. Adam's eyes burned brighter. I remember enough. No, Eric said softly. You remember battle. You remember fire. You remember losing men. But you do not remember why the gate opened. The ground cracked wider. A sound rose from below. Something massive scraping against stone. I stepped closer to Adam without thinking. His body responded instantly. Half step in front of me, shielding me, always, even when the whole mountain was splitting open, even when the dead stood around us, even when some ancient thing moved beneath our feet. He still protected me as naturally as breathing. Eric noticed. Of course he did. His smile faded. That is how it began before. Before, the word hit me strangely, like cold water down my spine. Adam looked at him. Do not. Eric's voice lowered. You loved her too. Silence. Not forest silence, not storm silence, the kind of silence that happens inside a person when something buried starts clawing its way back. I looked at Adam. His face was still hard, but his eyes, God, his eyes. For 1 second the blue light trembled. Who? I whispered. Adam didn't answer. The bear made a low sound beside us. Not growl. Something deeper. Almost grief. That sound broke something open. Suddenly the fog around us changed. The forest disappeared. Not fully, like reality had been covered by another memory. Firelight replaced snow. Screams replaced thunder. The smell hit me first. Smoke. Salt water. Blood. I was no longer standing in the forest. I was standing inside someone else's nightmare. A village burned under a black sky. Wooden houses collapsed in fire. Men ran with shields. Women screamed. The ocean beyond the village reflected orange flames, like the world itself had caught fire. And there he was, Adam, but not Adam. Younger, long hair braided back, no office sadness, no modern restraint, a warrior in full life. Terrifying, beautiful, alive in a way I had never seen him before. He fought like violence had been born knowing his name, axe in hand, blue eyes already burning, but wilder then, less controlled. He moved through enemies toward a woman standing near the shore. She was blonde, like me, not exactly, but close enough that my breath stopped. She wore a cream wool dress darkened by smoke and rain. Her hair flew loose in the wind. She held a small boy behind her. No sword, no armor, but she stood like she could not be moved. Adam screamed her name. I couldn't hear it clearly, the memory distorted around us, but I felt the sound in my chest. Love, pure, desperate love. He ran toward her. Then the ground opened. Blue light, the same blue light. Men fell into it. The sea pulled backward from the shore. The sky split with thunder, and something underneath the earth answered. The woman looked at Adam. She was afraid, but not of him, never of him. I knew that look, because I had worn it myself. Fear of what was coming, not fear of the man standing between her and death. Adam reached her too late. Something dark rose behind her. Not fully visible, not body, not creature, a shape made of shadow and old hunger. He threw himself toward her. The bear appeared then, younger too, massive, scarless. It launched itself into the darkness with a roar that shook the memory. But the blue light swallowed everything. The woman, the child, the shore, the fire, Adam's scream, then nothing. The forest returned all at once. I staggered. Adam caught me immediately, his hands on my arms, warm, real, now. I looked up at him, and his face had changed completely. The warrior was still there, but behind him stood a broken man, a man who had lost everything once and spent centuries not remembering because remembering would have killed him all over again. She was yours, I whispered. Snow started falling again. Adam closed his eyes. I don't know. But his voice broke, and that told me he did. Eric watched us quietly. She was his wife. The word moved through me like a blade. Wife. Not because of jealousy. Not exactly. How could I be jealous of a dead woman from another life? But because suddenly I understood the shape of his fear. This wasn't only about protecting me. It was about failing before, about love becoming a grave, about strength not being enough. Eric stepped closer. The gate opens when he chooses love over duty. Adam turned toward him violently. I chose people. You chose one woman, Eric said, and a kingdom burned. The bear roared. Adam lifted his axe, but I grabbed his arm, not to stop him because I feared him, to anchor him. His muscles were iron beneath my hand. He looked down at me, still glowing, still furious, still half in another lifetime. Stay with me, I said. The words came out of me without thought, the same words from the storm, the same words from the beach, the same words my soul had apparently known before my mind did. His breathing slowed, just a little. Eric's eyes narrowed. You always had that effect on him. I looked at him. What does that mean? Eric stared at me for a long moment, then said quietly, You are not her. The cold inside me eased for half a second. Then he continued, But souls follow patterns. The forest wind rose. The blue light under the ground pulsed like a heartbeat. Eric lifted his spear, and pointed it toward the crack beneath us. That thing below remembers him. It fed on his grief once. It opened the gate through his weakness, through love, through fear. Adam's face hardened. You lie. Eric shook his head. I warned you then, too. The words landed heavily. Suddenly I saw it. Not memory, instinct. Two men standing on opposite sides of the same disaster. Adam choosing to run toward the woman he loved. Eric choosing to close the gate. One became protector. One became judge. Both lost something. That was the tragedy. Not good and evil. Two kinds of survival. I looked at Eric differently then. He wasn't wild. He wasn't emotional. He wasn't even cruel in the ordinary way. He was what happens when pain freezes instead of breaks. Adam's pain became fire. Eric's became law, and I stood between them, a woman in a cream sweater and leather boots, shaking in the snow, holding the hand of a man who had once lost the world because he loved too hard. No armor, no weapon, no ancient title, and yet somehow I knew I was not misplaced there. Vikings did not choose weak women, and Adam had chosen me before he remembered why. The ground shook again, this time harder. Trees cracked. Snow fell in sheets from branches. The bear stepped closer to me, placing its enormous body partly in front of mine, protecting me. Eric saw it. For the first time, something like surprise crossed his stone face. The bear accepts her. Adam looked at the bear, then at me. His eyes softened, only for a breath. Eric lowered his spear slightly. That should not happen. The bear's scarred eye watched him, ancient, knowing. Then it bowed its head, not to Adam this time, to me. Everything inside me went still. I could hear my own heartbeat. I could hear Adam's breathing. I could hear the mountain below us growling like a sleeping god. The bear knew something none of us did, or maybe it remembered something none of us could. Eric whispered, "What are you?" I didn't know. But suddenly I wasn't afraid of that question. I stepped out from behind Adam. His hand caught mine instantly. No. One word. Command. Fear. Love. I turned to him. He looked terrified. Not of battle, not of death, of me stepping into it. That expression almost broke me, because strong men are easy to admire when they are fearless. But seeing a powerful man afraid only for you, that reaches somewhere deeper. I'm not her, I said softly. His jaw tightened. I know. No, I said, you don't. His eyes searched mine. I stepped closer. I am not here to be the woman you lose again. Snow moved around us. The bear stood still. Eric watched. The mountain breathed. I am here because something in me recognized you before any of this had a name. Adam's face changed. I touched his chest, over the armor, over the heart pounding beneath leather and fur. You don't have to save me by sending me away. His voice came rough. If you stand beside me, I might die? I turned toward Eric. He did not move. Then I looked back at Adam. Everyone dies. His face tightened in pain. But not everyone gets to choose what they stand for before they do. The words surprised even me, but they were true. Maybe that was strength, not fearlessness, choice. Eric's voice cut through the wind. She speaks beautifully. Then colder. The gate will still take her. Adam turned toward him again, axe lifting. But this time I didn't let go of his hand. The blue light underneath us exploded upward, not through one crack anymore, through dozens. The entire clearing fractured open. Dead warriors stepped back. Even Eric moved. Below the earth, something massive shifted. A shape rose beneath the blue fire. Horns, or branches, or bones. I couldn't understand what I was seeing. My mind refused to name it. The bear roared beside us. Adam pulled me behind him fully now. His eyes burned so bright the fog around his face glowed. Eric shouted something in the old language. The dead warriors lifted shields. The sky split with thunder. And then Adam did something I did not expect. He handed me his axe. For 1 second I couldn't move. The weapon was heavy, too heavy. And yet, when my fingers closed around it, blue light ran across the iron like it recognized my touch. Eric froze. Adam stared at the axe, then at me. The bear lowered its head again. My hands trembled, but I held it. Adam whispered, "No." Not refusal, astonishment. Eric's face had gone completely pale. "That is impossible." The thing beneath the mountain roared again, louder, closer, and suddenly I understood why the bear had bowed, not because I was warrior, not because I was chosen by blood, but because I was the one thing the gate had never understood, a woman who loved him without needing him to become smaller, a woman who would stand beside his strength instead of using fear to control it, a woman who remembered him forward, not backward. Adam stepped beside me, not in front this time, beside. The difference mattered. I looked at him. His bright blue eyes met mine. For the first time since the ground opened, he wasn't trying to protect me from the story. He was letting me stand inside it. The bear moved to our other side. The three of us faced the opening earth together. Eric stared at us with something like dread. Then the ancient thing beneath the mountain spoke, not in words, in memory, and inside my mind I heard one sentence: "Love opened the gate, love must close it." Adam heard it too. I knew by the way his hand found mine, hard, protective, possessive, but not afraid this time. The blue light rose around us. The dead warriors began to kneel, one by one. Even Eric lowered his spear, not fully, but enough. The mountain roared one final time. Then the ground beneath my feet vanished, and Adam jumped after me without hesitation.